This is honestly a really tough choice. The Land Rover and Lehigh is providing us with both of the vehicles, so I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. They've got a lot of cool pre-owned inventory and then new Land Rovers as well. Powering the Land Cruiser is a hybrid turbo 2.4 liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed automatic. It puts out 326 horsepower and then 465 pound-feet of torque. Powering the Defender is a turbo 3 liter inline 6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic. It puts out 395 horsepower and then 406 pound-feet of torque. Now, technically, the Land Cruiser is rated to get better fuel economy compared to the Defender, but in the real world, high teens for both of them. If you're looking for more straight-to-the-point comparisons like this, make sure you subscribe. The new Land Cruiser is very boxy, and I love the new design. The only thing that I'm not a huge fan of is all of this exposed plastic, but as long as it holds up well over time, I think it's just fine. Also, the rigid fog lights, cool. Now, the Defender also looks fantastic, and it's always cool to see the little checker plates on the Defender. I don't know, I just think they look nice. But yeah, you've got kind of that same, you know, boxy design at the bottom too. I mean, like literally the light housing is kind of a rectangle. And I really wouldn't be able to tell you my favorite one out of these two when I just look at them. I think they both look great, like I said. Now with both of these, you can get smaller wheels. You can also get larger wheels. You can do all-terrain tires, street tires. It just depends on what you're looking for. Something to note, 17s is the smallest wheel you can fit on that. With the inline 6, the smallest wheel you can fit is a 19. The Land Cruiser is body and frame, solid axle in the back, independent suspension up front, and it's about 194 inches in length. It's actually a little bit longer than the Defender. The Defender, again, is similar in length to a Jeep Wrangler, but independent suspension all around, unibody, and it actually has a longer wheelbase, so the overhangs are a lot shorter on the Defender. The Land Cruiser is about a 112-inch wheelbase. This is about a was it like 118 or 119? I think it's 119 if I remember right. It was in fact 119, I was correct. Anyways, this is going to be the biggest downside of the Land Cruiser. No third row option available, and the hybrid battery, you do lose space. You do get a 2400 watt inverter, which is great, but this is already kind of narrower inside, and then you lose some of the vertical space, and so it does massively decrease the practicality. But it's okay because Toyota does give you this cool, why is it not popping? There we go, pop out window. So that's nice, and the Land Cruiser badge, that holds a lot. Now the Defender does not have a power gate, it's just this swing gate setup, which, I don't know, I like it. We've got an outlet here in the back, too. You can raise and lower the rear with the rear suspension. But yeah, I mean, the space here, even though it's a shorter vehicle, it's bigger. It feels bigger because you don't have a super high load floor and you've got kind of like a taller vehicle overall. Now when it comes to the rear style, it's really just going to depend on your personal taste. Do you like the no spare tire on the back, just straight up boxy look? Spare tire underneath with the Land Cruiser, or do you like the spare tire on the back? Personally, I kind of prefer this look because it just looks a little bit more rugged, a little bit more off-roadish. The Land Cruisers, when they had the aftermarket bumpers and then the spare tire, that looks cool. On the back of the Land Cruiser, decent legroom, got a little storage pocket, got our own climate zone on the back, some USB ports. I really like the trim inside of the Land Cruiser. I think that's really nice. I still haven't reviewed a 2027 Premium yet, but apparently it's supposed to be heated ventilated seats in the back for the 27 Premiums, but the non-Premium didn't have any changes for the back seat with the Land Cruiser. Anyways, you do have this hump for the sunroof, and yeah, just a regular sunroof. Now, even though the Defender is a smaller vehicle overall, it somehow just feels more spacious back here with like the legroom, and again, big part of that's unibody packaging. You can use more of the cab. Got some USB ports. You can get the Defenders with fancy luxury features in the back, like their own climate zone, heated seats, all that kind of stuff. And the seats themselves, again, really nice trim. I like both seats. It feels wider here in the back of the Defender too. You've got those windows up top, definitely more headroom. Like this feels a lot taller, and you do have a sunroof. Now at the front of the Land Cruiser, blind spot warning, very boxy mirrors, just regular glass. And again, I think the trim's really nice with this. Memory seats with this. Compare payloads 1100 on the Land Cruiser. And then you can see the seats perforated down the center. You do have power adjustments with lumbar support. And then you can see shortcut buttons for different items. Got power adjustable steering wheel, trailer brake controls. Getting in's easy. It's not super high off the ground. One downside, oh, it's already on. One downside is ground clearance with that. Anyways, we've got a digital cluster. And look at the steering wheel. A lot of practical controls. Again, I like this look. And then you got a good camera system. And unlike the Lexus that I just compared the Defender to, this just has a moderate screen and then physical controls for all the climate stuff and the heated ventilated seats. And then the Land Cruisers, all of them, well, not all of them, the 1950 it's a little bit different, but anyways, mid trim and above, you've got multi-terrain select crawl control and diff locks for the center and the rear. And this one has a stabilizer bar to connect, 2-speed transfer case. It's got a lot of off-road tech. It's very capable. Cool box center console as well. Got a nice trim there on the top of that. We've got a camera rear view mirror, and then like I said earlier, sunroof. Blind spot monitoring with the Defender, just regular glass, and again, really nice trim with all of this. Memory seats, and then you can see the payload capacity, 825 pounds with the Defender, so it is less. And then the seats in this, I think the trim on this is nice. Power adjustments and everything on the side. Let's kind of pop in here. Look at this. Very rugged steering wheel design. The Defender's definitely more stylized, that is for sure. And then you can see you've got a digital cluster there, and then do have a 360 camera. Again, good system overall. Now with this infotainment system, now that it's nice and warmed up, it's actually pretty quick to respond. I think that the Toyota system might be a little bit quicker with some of the loading up and everything. Bunch of physical controls for like heated ventilated seats. It's this multifunction dial system that also controls the off-road drive modes. Again, air suspension with the independent suspension, so you can raise and lower the vehicle, low range. And then if you get this with the off-road pack, you get a rear differential lock as well as a center that's standard on all the Defenders. Tons of storage here, and the diff locks are automated, by the way. Phone charging pad, you got the center console. You can get this with a cool box if you want. This goes all the way back, which is nice. Got a nice trim on the top there. Just a regular rearview mirror, and then like I said, panoramic sunroof. When it comes to pricing, most of the Land Cruisers you're going to see sticker for, high 60s for a mid-trim. Most of the premiums are going to be over $70,000. Now, even up to the mid-70s. The Defenders, you're usually going to see them mid-70s for the inline six, and a lot of them are going to be mid-80s. It just depends on the options you add to them. Let's drive them. Quick disclaimer, I'm going to be using this Defender driving video for the GX and the Land Cruiser comparisons. I'm just driving all three of them back to back, basically. So I'll be posting the GX video first, because I'm driving that one directly after this, and then the Land Cruiser video second. And so in the Land Cruiser video, I'll kind of just let you know which one out of all three of them I like the most. It's hard to do three-way comparisons, just because of parking lot space and everything. Like, it was hard enough getting those two next to each other. So yeah, it's always something, right? So the Defender, very unique in this segment. Well, until the Honda Passport came around, right? Because the Passport's boxy unibody, but yeah, having unibody construction does make this unique in this segment. But here's the thing that I will say. It kind of has the most natural feel in terms of everything being put together with this. So here's what I mean. Air suspension plus independent suspension plus electric power steering. It has this kind of more isolated feel that all goes together. You'll see it's a little bit different in the other two. That isolation, so like having electric power steering with a car that is unibody, independent suspension, doesn't bother me that at all, really, because when you hit a corner, you can hear it and you can actually kind of feel it. So you have a good idea of what the car is doing. You don't have to really feel that through the steering. But yeah, I mean, these things are effortless to drive. They just carve through the corners, smooth power delivery, seating position's great. There's good space here, like I got good knee space and everything. Tons of headroom. I didn't have the seat down all the way, do I? Oh yeah, I could put the seat down if I wanted to, quite a bit. And they're quiet too. Again, even though like people always talk crap because like I mentioned, oh, the Defender doesn't have the thicker glass. It's plenty insulated. Like, just sit inside one of these and you'll understand what I'm talking about. It has plenty of sound insulation. And I love the materials that Land Rover uses. They have a luxurious feel to them, but also a durable feel. The only other car that I've really been in that has kind of a similar, there's two vehicles, LX and then the full-size Land Cruiser. Those have the same thing where the materials feel durable. Look, and Ineos Grenadier to an extent, but those are kind of more just like full-on durable. They don't really have the luxury feel as much going for them. But yeah, look at this inline six. It's very smooth. It's got good power. And so it's like you can rock it forward if you want, but you can also just have good smooth torque if you want. Great powertrain all around. Yeah, the handling on this is wonderful. Truly. So, and there's gonna be a little bit of wind noise, but the other two are actually worse. Let's say that right away. The Defender has wind noise, and the Land Cruiser and GX have wind noise. Yeah, see, everything's so comfortable. That's the thing that's nice about these Defenders. It's like you get the truck, you're upright. It's a very, you know, big, bulky feeling vehicle, but then it's comfortable. So it's like you kind of get your cake and you get to eat it too. I really enjoy the drive of these things. And the 25 plus Defenders, they fixed a lot of the reliability issues they had, so it's looking to be a solid vehicle. So, to finish off the Defender to the two Prados, right? Comparison. It's so crazy how different the LC250 drives from the GX550. It really, like, they're the same platform, same wheelbase. Very, very similar vehicles. They share a lot of components. But with this, unlike the Defender and the GX, you just have regular old shocks, regular old springs, nothing fancy. And I think that nothing fancy does work quite well sometimes, because I actually like this about as much as I like the Defender. Now, it is, you know, it's truck-like, so it's got the kind of back and forth, but it's very consistent. It doesn't have that falling off feeling that you get with the Lexus, where it's like tight, 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 and then this, it's like as soon as you go into a corner, there's roll. It just naturally rolls into the corners, just rolls through. And so, yeah, the handling's not as sharp as the Defender, but it's consistent enough that it's like, I'm used to it. It's good. And I prefer consistent every time. Every time. And again, this does feel like a truck. Like the Defender feels like a tank-like vehicle. This, you feel the solid axle in the back, you go over the bumps, you feel the frame. Again, don't mind it at all. I think it's a really nice drive. The braking's actually the best out of all three. The Defender brakes are kind of touchy right off the bat because they do such big rotors with those Defenders. That's why you can't fit smaller wheels. This, it's kind of like you got the hybrid, the regen, and that kind of smoothly transitions into the deeper into the brake pedal, and it seems like it stops. I'm not saying it stops faster, but just smoother in a way. Yeah, I think that the Lexus interior doesn't feel special at all. The Defender interior feels the most special. This is right behind the Defender with how the interior feels. And it's weird because, again, it shares a lot with the Lexus, but it just comes down to how they've presented things in this and some of the materials they've used. Yeah, and here's the deal is, because this has the hybrid at the bottom, and again, this is the least powerful out of the bunch, because 349 horsepower for the GX, 326 for this, 395 for the Defender. And yet, I like this acceleration about as much as I like the Defender acceleration. Like, the Lexus is smooth at the beginning, choppy at the top. This is just choppy all the way through. So, choppy's not bad, it's just consistency is the important thing. And that's something that I think this and the Defender have, is they have consistency that the Lexus does not have. Yeah, I'd say that's about as comfortable as the Defender going over the little bump there. So, conclusion, I think Lexus is in third place. There you go. That was an easy one. That was an easy one. First place, though, That's where it's a little bit tougher. I think the packaging with the Defender is objectively better. It's a shorter vehicle, and yet it feels the biggest inside by a pretty large margin. Yes, even deeper into it, again, it's not fast, but it's consistent. So the Defender feels great inside with the space. The drive's consistent. It is more money. So here's what I have to say. If you're like, money doesn't matter, I prefer the Defender. I prefer the Defender. I think it drives better, looks the part, very capable off-road. Very, very capable off-road. And like I said, those 25 plus Defenders, the reliability seems like it's pretty darn good on them. But if you are factoring in money, where you're like, yeah, I want to get the most for my money, yeah, the Land Cruiser the Land Cruiser value proposition is very strong. It's very, very strong. There's no denying that. So, because I mean, you can get one of these, you know, you can get a mid-trim with heated ventilated seats, very nice truck in the 60s. So that's kind of how it is. If money's like a top priority for you, you just want the most bang for your buck, Land Cruiser. But if you want what I would say is kind of the best vehicle, man, yeah, see, it's smooth. Like in terms of it, you got that choppiness, but it's consistently. Anyways, but yeah, if you just want the best vehicle, I think the Defender is just better than both of them. Drives better. I love the looks of it as much as I like the looks of this, and it's bigger inside.